First thing I have is the Allied weekly insurance claims. Those in the amount of $69,329.37. Of that, we have $32,659.07 medical, $37,757.66 pharmacy, with adjustments of $1,087.36, and the total $69,329.37, and the treasurer will give a report later as to the current numbers and status of the health insurance fund.
Okay. Yeah, that one got hit a little bit harder.
Typically happens towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
People met their deductibles.
I'll make a motion to accept that one.
Second. All right, motion carries. Next, we have payroll claims. And the current payroll claims are in the amount of $327,842.45. $327,842.45, that's normal.
Okay, should I sign it? If you want paid, you better.
That's that payroll claims.
Second. I don't think you want to remove that, do you?
Nope.
Yeah, motion carries.
Okay. Next, I have accounts payable claims. Brought that down to you earlier. We had that to you, sir, and we were holding on one department's credit card payment, so we could do it. But we got that this morning, and I wish I would have it this morning. I don't know if she got it, so. The amount is $357,173.92. $357,173.92 was the total amount of claims. If you have any questions, please do it. I will answer.
What's appraisal research?
That is a reassessment. From the assessor's office, they go out and do different assessments of properties and so forth. Basically help with that.
They do all the real property and then we do the personal property in-house. Okay, so.
There's a contract with them to do all the tax parcels when they estate new construction. And they go out and do the assessments.
What did you want to do, Paul? Remember that? No, I don't. What is that, Nina?
Hey Brad, on New Holland, we had 16,500. Is that a repair?
Yeah, that was actually an insurance claim.
All right, thoughts on that one?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Yeah, I have one more thing, and that is the monthly report for August by the clerk of the circuit court. I'll hand that out, or hand that out to you a little bit ago. We just need to motion and second and vote to put that, enter that into the record.
Yeah, I'll take a motion on that if you're so inclined.
I'll make a motion. We accept.
Good, motion carries. Thank you.
That is all that I had today.
Okay. All right.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Brad. I'm not sure you guys want me back out here. Last week's meeting was so quick and went so well that, we need.
Same today.
We need, well, I'll try. I'm not be quite as quick. I've got a few more things to discuss. We need. I think we'll talk about that.
I think we told Paul to take the rest of the day off.
No, just on that claim Rex, that was, one of our mowing tractors laid over, and so insurance paid for it, but then we paid the,
Oh.
nobody got hurt. So,
Is that tractor big enough for that
oh, yeah.
mower once you stretch it out there?
Yeah, yes, that, but I will say the boom mower, that does put a lot of weight out there.
Was that the one that tipped over?
No, it was one of the regular, just pulls the mower over. One of them was just kind of unseen, and there was an edge, and got up there, and he didn't see it because of the weeds and grass. Front tire was there, the front tire slid off, and when it went off, it just took the trailer. So, he didn't get hurt, thankfully,
Yeah,
so,
Good.
yeah.
main thing.
And it was all, I want to say, basically cosmetic stuff. You know, it wasn't nothing structural.
I would think that would be about the hardest thing you could ever want to polish ditches.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yep, I credit to the people that are doing it because you can't see what's there a lot of the time. And unless you've heard it quite a few times, you may not know what's there. So,
Yeah.
okay, so few things I got today. Years ago, they had bought one-way plows from the front of the trucks. You know, we normally run our V blades on the front of them. Well, they bought one-way plows and they don't really get used. And 2 years ago, we tried it, and the style of those plows, the way the snow comes out the end, it's very prone to taking off mailboxes. So we just don't run them. They just sit there. We've got 6 of them, and we actually had another county contact us, and they were wondering if we would want to sell them. So I wanted to come to you guys today and just, get your opinion on that and see if you can give us permission to sell them.
Didn't they buy those because it'd be less trips up and down the road? Because you could take a road with 2
It'll
slices.
get about half width. Yeah,
Yeah.
and just, in our opinion, it never panned out the way they thought it would.
Okay.
So they just said,
You don't use them at all anymore?
no. We had one guy that was using them 2 years ago, and I think the one day we had 15 mailbox calls. So we just said, it's not worth that.
So V plows don't take out mailboxes like that?
No,
Is it for a higher?
yes, if you've ever had the V plow, the edge of the wings are really tall, so it does more of a spreading out of it. It's not all directed like right here. It's more of a spread. That and they're swept back a little more too, instead of the straight blades are not quite as swept back. So it's more of a direct to the side than throwing it off to the side and back.
We had a real bad winter, would we need one?
No, if we had bad weather, the V plows are what we want to take us through the drifts and that. So that's another thing, when the snow gets deep, those don't push as nice through the heavy stuff, the busting drifts and that. The V plows are really nice.
Does one or the other get the roads cleaner?
No, we basically run them both on the road.
You just set the shoes to,
Yep. So basically that blade sits right on the road almost. And that's basically how you set the blades up.
okay.
And if we don't get that big of snow, we use the belly blades anyhow.
And those get cleaner, those get.
Yeah, a little bit. Those do ride on the ground. I mean, like you said, we can set the shoes on the other ones, but those actually ride right on the ground. Yeah.
Okay.
So you see no further use.
Now, they've said, I mean, no. Like I said, we had one guy using one 2 years ago and it was,
But when I drove through the fairgrounds a couple weeks ago, they look kind of rusty. I wonder.
yes, they are. Yeah, they are looking rusty.
Yeah.
What kind of a value do you think they would?
That's one thing. We just got this call a couple days ago, so we really haven't checked into that. But, we're gonna check into it. We'll talk to some equipment dealers and that, call bodybuilders and see what they're worth. Come up with a fair price, but that I don't need to talk to Mark about, how we
I think
figure
we
that.
need to hang on to one of them just for, you never know.
We actually do have one that was an older one that they had before they got all these others. So we do have one that we're gonna keep.
Do they take the same mounting hardware as the V plow?
That's the other thing, with these new ones, it is the same mounting, but it's a different style because some V-blades go right on the truck. It rides up and down on that front bracket. These here, they bought them and the blade sets there, and you actually have a dolly wheel between the blade and the truck. So it still mounts onto that, but there's a dolly wheel that's there when the blade's up. It's a different setup that we don't feel worked very well. And rather than seeing them sitting there, because it's taking up space, like you said, they're rusting away.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not gonna involve purchasing any new.
No.
hardware.
No.
Well,
No, we got enough V-blades to cover everything with the new truck we're getting, that you guys gave us permission last time, what's getting done. We're getting a new V-blade with that. So no, we don't need to buy anything else to get rid of these.
okay.
No.
Well, I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would say get further information, find out what they're
Yes.
worth, and get back with us on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably don't want to put one on my pickup, I don't suppose.
That would be interesting.
Stan, you need to buy one for your apartment.
All right, then another, asking for your permission. So on High Street, County Road 100 East, between the Knights of Columbus and US 33, that's our portion of road that we take care of. It's less than a half-mile road. So the city of Decatur takes care of everything up to that, and then we take care of it from there to 33. And what they've done in the past is, like last year, we improved, or 2 years ago, we improved the road, had it redone and all that, so it's in good shape. And then we would like to hand it over to the city, and then they can just take care of the whole thing from now on.
Down to the bypass.
All the way down to the bypass, rather than us jumping on, going that less than half a mile, have to turn around to Knights of Columbus and then come back, or that kind of thing. It just, if we can hand it over to them, they can do that whole stretch, take care of it.
Have you talked to Jeremy?
Yes, and he's fine with that, and he said if we get permission today, then he'll go to council next week and get their permission, or the city council.
Are you turning over just plowing and all of it?
No, the whole thing would be turned over to them, that'll become their road.
Okay.
Yep. They said they've done it in the past, kind of the same thing, so. And it just kind of cleans up what we take care of, rather than having short strips here and there.
Does that have any kind of a implication to turn the road over to the city?
Well, we just have to discuss it with them, and we have to do a resolution to do that.
I mean, is that what it really is, just turn the whole road over? So,
Which road is it?
High Street, basically from the Knights of Columbus to 33. Yeah, like I said, it's like 0.4 of a mile. It's not even a half mile, so.
Doesn't that have a few, like a street that goes back in there?
Yeah, that is actually 400 north, and we will still take care of that.
So you'll have to jump off and come into.
Yeah, just to run down and do that. Yes. And, the way that obviously it's worked every year is like when we plow or cities plow, a lot of times it's whoever gets there first who actually might do the road, take care of it. And just help each other out, work together. But yeah, 400 north is ours to take care of. Then we actually do have the pickup.
Would they need to make a motion if they wanted to allow this, and then see what the city of Decatur says, and then you come up with the resolution? How's that work? I think you can just direct us to contact the city and see about
them taking it over and making sure that they will do it, because it'll switch from our road inventory to their road inventory. And we'll have to, I think we can just contact them.
Yeah, and Jeremy's actually, you guys okay today, Jeremy was gonna go to council, their council meeting next week. See what they thought, so.
So if you work it out with Jeremy, you know, and if Mark can come up with a resolution for us, then that's something that he could bring back in.
But, yeah, you guys could just have today, I mean, if you want to take action on it, you could have a motion to direct our highway department personnel to discuss the turning over that portion of the road to the city of Decatur, you know, subject to adoption of an appropriate resolution and their acceptance.
Yeah, I think I make a motion.
I second it.
Okay, thank you.
So just let me know, you know, if the city.
Yeah, after Jeremy goes to meeting next week.
And we can prepare a resolution. Do you have like a description, do you have like I guess description wise, you can just list from the current, because they have it up to.
There's a bridge right there, it's a nice.
Yeah, it's there, so
They actually take care of up to the bridge, and then the
Okay,
bridge.
so we're gonna say it's from the bridge located at Knights of Columbus and then all the way to,
The 33.
33, okay.
Does 100 East end there at 33 and then it turns to High Street? I was just curious.
Yeah, yep. The only other question I would have, and this is directed more Mark. Did you ever get that resolution done with Wells County to help pay for that portion of that bridge on the county line?
I was working with me, I'm sure I got on that.
Well, it's still mowing and burning. You know, we're trying to, like I said, we're trying to do that full last pass before winter gets here. And the weather's been very nice for Berman. We haven't had much rain and Berman's going well. We're getting a lot done this year. So.
Brad, what kind of a work schedule are the guys on now? 'Cause you-
Oh, yeah. Thank you. October 10th, we're going back to our 8-hour days.
October the 10th.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you extended it long. It used to be Labor Day, right?
Yeah, it used to be around Labor Day. Well, and yeah, it's not quite as convenient now, but we get a lot done in that 10-hour day.
Well, as long as the weather's still fit.
Another heat right there too.
And you guys are still out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're limited on our nice weather days, so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm sorry, I should have brought that up, yeah, October 10th. Going back.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Anything else for Brad, Rose?
Yep.
Thanks, Brad.
How's it going?
Good.
Good.
I believe it was, excuse me, last meeting, I asked you about the handicap spots out here, and you kind of approved to go ahead of getting that done. So that is gonna get done. Gilbert's gonna take that to the council, get the ordinance done. While he was here, we kind of walked around the building here and talked about some winter things. Yes, consensus. I think mine too. There's a kind of a dead tree down here. We took one out when we put the air conditioning units in the fence. Well, there's one down there that is dead. The other one's kind of overgrown and I don't know how it's rooting in towards the building, and then there's one right out here by your off the commissioner's room here that's dead too. The consensus was is taking them down.
Okay.
He would take them down and I'd have to have the stumps removed. I guess I'm just asking your blessing to do that.
Yeah, if you guys agreed on it, I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Cause you pay closer attention to that.
Okay, that's a question.
And, oh, Ed, sorry.
Rick, there's also a dead tree there in the Third Street parking lot, across the street.
He's right. I forgot to mention that one. Yeah, it's just across the street in front of the gymnasium over there. It would be taken down too. So actually four.
Okay. Sure that's not Judge Conrad's tree.
No. No. Not unless you guys gave it. So there would be four. Friday, I met with Mark about the elevator quotes and bids, and we went over them. I think we agreed upon American Elevator getting the job, if you guys so elect to put a new elevator in. I do have copies of that quote. I do have the other quotes if you want to see them. This did come in lower.
We did get a copy, 3 quotes,
We did get
correct? Yeah.
3 quotes came from American Elevator. Do you want the prices mentioned too?
Are they still current prices?
Yes.
Okay.
American Elevator came in at $99,167. Otis Elevator Company came in at $138,250. And there was allowances on the cabs for that. Schindler Elevator came in at $119,686.
And all 3 of those quotes replaced the car and the hydraulics.
That price that I gave you, they do replace the car except for Otis and Schindler. That was an add-on, a new, they told us to have an allowance of 25,000, Schindler did, for a new cab, new car. Otis was 18,000.
But American was a new car, it's in the base bid.
In the base bid.
Yeah.
Those two, the quote I gave you did not contain of the car.
Right.
But American Elevator, I'm sorry.
Wow, that's quite.
And that's the 99.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And I assume that is a responsive quote that.
It looks pretty, yeah, it was
Hydraulics, controls,
Yes.
car, the whole shop.
We read, researched, looked at it, and it is.
they're not replacing anything to do with the shaft or the rails or the guide rails. I mean, that stuff is in place, the bottom platform, that's fine.
Yeah.
That platform's stationary at the bottom of the shaft, but everything else, there moves the hydraulics, cable. In fact, I think with American was the one that had new cable, and I didn't see new cable on the other ones.
No, I didn't either. I'll just hand it to you.
So I think it's the lowest responsible.
Well, that was the same company, Rick, that the city used, right?
That's correct. City did hire the American Elevator to put their new one in.
And this bid is good to tell, so thank you.
Yeah, it was 3 months, 90 days. This quote was given to us, time's lapse, I believe it was July.
Next July 5th, yep, 90 days.
90 days, so.
Well, and I told Rick, we've got to make sure where the money would be appropriated to do this, if it's appropriated out of Cuba Cap or if you've got that appropriated in ARPA funds. I don't recall that it was, but in order to, approve a contract for this, we got to make sure we got the funds appropriated. I think we could probably do an extension of the quote, because they require 3rd down, and so once you pay a 3rd down, they're going to schedule it. It may not be put in, till sometime next year.
Or didn't we talk about taking it out of the ARP funds?
I think we did discuss it. Let's see if it's actually in there. Now, I don't know, we talked a little bit, but I mean, the elevator right now, it's working, it's functioning, and it's, you know, it's back in service. And it's not something, you know, this isn't something you have to do right now. Rick was working on, Council on Aging is gonna be working out of this is where, food bank, food bank.
Yeah.
And so that's gonna eliminate, what, 3/4 of the use of that elevator, if not more? So, I think you gotta think about what your future plans are with the building, maybe before you spend $100,000 on the revamp of an elevator. If what you've got right now is gonna work for another couple of years, maybe you develop the plans for what you're gonna do with this building, and then once you've solidified that, you know, then, you know, do this if that's, you know, if you plan on being here and having a fairly heavy use in this building of that elevator. So,
Well, I guess in my mind, I would anticipate anything that changed with this building, probably, whether it was a new building or renovation, probably wouldn't happen for 4 to 5 years. So until we go through evaluation and design process, whatever.
I'm not sure what pricing would do in 4 or 5 years either.
Yeah.
And if that thing would break down in a month, it might take us 3 months to get parts again.
I think probably even with any remodeling or evaluation, we're always gonna have offices on 3rd floor, 2nd floor, and in the basement, which all require elevator access. And so if we replace it now at current prices, at least if we had an issue, we wouldn't be gone for 2 weeks or a month or 2 months. And that's the thing that makes me tempted to say it would be better to do it now.
Well, I don't know how long, I did not get a time frame. I just want to make sure, I don't know how long it'll take to replace this thing.
Right.
Yeah. 'Cause
But
it's
I'm
not-
saying like now,
Yeah.
with the trouble we had getting the circuit board, getting it reprogrammed, you know, if we have a problem again, that guy might not be able to pull up the software on his computer to repair. So we might be down a month just for repair. I guess I'm almost kind of leaning towards replacing it now. Just for those reasons. But you're right, I mean, it's gonna get less use. It's just been repaired. It's working now. So it's real tempting just to let it ride. I don't know, what do you guys?
No, I agree with you, Stan. I do have a couple questions here. Rick, in the contract itself, items excluded in the contract. It says underground oil lines or hydraulic cylinders, any waterproofing of the pit or hydraulic casing, adding relays to and programming the existing fire alarm system to meet current elevator code, modifications to the machine room to keep temperature within the code and planned operating temperature, electrical upgrades. Is there anything in there, in this paragraph here that we may have to look at?
Well, there is. One thing things may have to be back up to code again. Say the lighting down there, we may have a little wiring we gotta do. Things of that nature. But some of those things they list, it's good. I mean, even that gentleman told me, they put that in there. But we will have a little extra cost on, okay, this needs a globe on the light. This needs whatever it is. There could be a little bit of wiring change that has to go on to bring it up to the code.
Okay, and they can do this. This contractor would be able to do
We
it.
could do it, or we could have possibly Jeannie
Do it.
Well, and even like you talked about the oil lines, I mean, if we have to replace oil lines or an oil cooler or something, I don't know how major, I don't know if there even is such a thing down in there.
I don't think that this particular, I think that was a standard disclaimer or exclusions that they put in all their contracts depending on the type of, it depends on the type of elevator that you have. You know, you don't have a hydraulic, ram elevator with a hydraulic cylinder that's not the kind that it is. It's an electric motor running a hydraulic pump, that's running a wheel, that's running a cable, that's pulling it up and down. So that should all be self-contained. There shouldn't be any buried hydro lines coming from anywhere
Okay.
for this particular elevator.
Most of that, Fuel Catch is a disclaimer that they put in there, as he stated. But we may have to do a little rewiring of some.
They're gonna put in elevator music?
That's probably a feature.
That's a good idea, Stan.
Well, and it almost sounds like they're willing to, replacing it just for those reasons to
So they need to
keep it water and keep it, there we go. So at this point, if we decide to do that, would we have to relook at the contract, or do we just need to have Rick go ahead?
But I think if you want to go ahead with this replacement project, you've got the quote. I think the two things you gotta do, get an appropriation on schedule for the council to appropriate the funds. Either out of ARPA or out of Cume Cap. And they're probably gonna do it out of the ARPA, my guess.
Because on service complex repairs and maintenance, we would have about half of that. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do the whole amount.
Well, we've got funds appropriated for that generator project, but that's generator, it's not elevator. And, but you gotta identify the funds that you're gonna use to pay for it, get those funds appropriated, so get the wheels in motion to get it appropriated. And then two, contact, American Elevator and tell them the commissioners want to proceed with this, but they're just in the process of getting funds appropriated. We need a 30-day extension on there.
Well, if we could get on the schedule for council next meeting.
This expires October the 4th, the council meeting's gonna be after that.
That's why we need an extension. That's why I'm saying contact them now and just get an extension.
Yeah.
At the very least, explain to them that council can't meet to appropriate it until the second Tuesday of October. You gotta have the funds appropriated whenever you approve it, because when you approve it, now you gotta pay a third, and then they're gonna order materials. Now, I will say that during budget lines, council's direction on Cume Cap funds and Cume funds was to try to, they wanted some of that moved over into county general. So I don't know, this might be one of the things that they think would fall under, I think they were on the phone with Rick as they were discussing some of that.
Well, I guess at this point,
Because I want to get you,
if you would contact them and ask for an extension, and if you could put us on the schedule for the next council meeting to advertise for the appropriation. I mean, we do the things we do right now. Right?
Yep.
All right.
put the commissioners on the agenda for the next council meeting so that they can discuss the elevators and where to appropriate the money from, whether it's ARPA or Cume Cap or whatever. So they can have that discussion on where to get the funds from. Thank you. And you gotta, you're gonna have to advertise them for an additional RN. So that needs to get advertised.
Oh, we can't advertise, well, I'd have to turn the advertisement in tomorrow. It's gotta be in the paper by tomorrow, so unless you guys want to.
Yeah, that is
Want to try it, we're talk to them in October, and then you come up with where you wanna pay it from, and then I could do the additional for November.
Well, if we were to get it in the paper today, I mean, we've got the clear, we could advertise for that amount,
I
correct?
know, but you guys want.
You can't advertise where they want to
You
put
can
it.
put a, tell me a fund, line item, everything.
Oh,
What
gotcha.
that goes on the additional, so.
That's what you would discuss in October, and then in November, we would actually do the additional, but we could actually start the project because you know.
Because otherwise, if you guys turn in an additional and say, put it out of Cume Cap,
That's what we
the
want.
council next month, and they say they don't want that,
Yeah.
then we're gonna have to do that advertising.
Should we recommend?
Well, you do it in two places.
Well,
You
we
do
could
it
advertise it and ask for the appropriation out of the LPA funds.
Yes. Can't we do that?
You guys can do whatever you want.
Well, if council decides not to do it that way, you just have to re-advertise again. I think you advertise it both ways, and
So we advertise it, ARPA and QCAT?
Mhm.
I mean, they're obviously gonna zero one.
That was gonna, yeah, we'll have to zero one, I think, whichever one you choose. They're only gonna approve one, so I'd advertise it both ways, that way you're covered.
So QCAP and
And ARPA.
what's the dollar amount?
$99,167. I would do probably 110 and 112, that's what the clear resident. Well, yeah, but you may have some additional, requirements.
So how much do you want her to actually put on that for the additional?
I'd put on advertise at 120, they can always approve less.
Okay, so do 120 QCAP and ARPA, and it's for the elevators.
That gives us about 15%.
I don't think this would be a problem in this time-wise, but if we could schedule this not to happen after November 10th. And I'm
They
sure,
won't have it in by, they probably won't have it in, but certainly, I mean, when the actual work is done, we would do it in conjunction with all the offices on
as
what's
we
most.
do for taxes, to get that
And
substantial.
that is one thing that I told him, you know. Look, I don't know when your lead time is here, but we do have issues here as far as tax time and things like that. I wouldn't want to, we don't want to do it then.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
So ask for an extension of 30 days. We're good with 30 or longer?
I would say at least, 30 or 45.
Because within the extension time, it would just be a matter of, approving it, activating the contract and getting them whatever down payment was required within that. And so, once it approves the money, we could still do that within that 30-day extension, I suppose. I mean,
I can ask Phil for you about it.
yeah,
Hopefully the audit extension.
yeah. Okay. All right.
So the purposes of this meeting, are we just giving direction to vote, or a motion that that's what we're going to choose contingent upon appropriation, or how do we?
Well, I think the direction is for Rick to ask for an extension, a 30-day extension on on their quote. And, for Bree to advertise with council.
And that's why I was asking Mark, do we need a motion, or do I have to put in the minutes that you're directing that, how do I write that?
To find out, if they say Peter, whether or not we can get an extension.
Yeah.
If they say no, I mean, the cost is gonna go up, but we need more.
Would you like me to come back maybe towards the end of the meeting? I can call. Find out.
Yeah, see,
See if you can get
go
over that.
back and say, no, we already did it, that's 150,000, then we're good.
Yeah, I think you can just show in the minutes, the discussion, or what was discussed, the commissioners directed to seek an extension and to advertise for the additional. I think that's fine. Yeah, it'll just be in the minutes.
Okay, very good.
So I don't need to come back then. I mean, I'll call him.
Get your thumbs on that, sure.
Well, I would say call him, but if you find out anything different than an extension, then probably would be good to know. So.
Anything else?
And then, yeah, if he gives an extension, follow up with writing. And then we put it right to us.
We're progressing downstairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drilled into the doorways.
Good. Okay. I saw I had an email from you on the chillers. I didn't read the thing. Was there anything we need to bring up? With that?
Last time I talked to Ford Facilities, it was still got to be hopefully this year yet. They get in it.
Okay.
So I haven't heard anything.
Okay. All right.
Just probably for an executive session.
And then we've got, the trustees' offices move, and you're working on plans for,
Yeah,
preparing that room for operation help.
yes, that's right. They're supposed to give me a layout where they want to put their freezers in that room over here. Because we will have to do some accommodations and wiring to hook up to our generators for their freezers. That's what we've supplied them. Permits to.
Gotcha. So their freezers downstairs are hooked into outlets that are on the generator.
Correct, and the ones they have, I think there's a total of 7 that are hooked to that. So we'll have to do some wiring to still accommodate that, but we're not adding it.
So maybe I've got emails.
We're not adding to the generator.
All right. Just insulate the room and turn on the light room.
Yeah, really.
All right. Very good. Okay, anything else for Rick?
Thanks, Rick.
Did you do anything on that chairs up here, Stan? The chairs are up.
Did you happen to bring that chair?
I didn't bring that chair down. That's the only thing. I wanted to look at that one from county
Okay.
office.
So,
So,
all right, we'll just table it and tell you.
yeah.
You call Tom and say, hey, Tom, bring a chair.
Bring your chair.
So, don't tell Tom, bring a chair.
Yeah.
What do we do that? What do we do that or something?
Say something. Hey, Rick. Which elevator is here? It is. That's what you did.
All right.
On the floor.
Ed?
I do too.
What happens if he doesn't?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's see.
A couple quick things. We have been bringing in taxes right and left. We're doing pretty good. We have about just over 14 million to collect yet this fall out of 33.8 million. So we're in really good shape with about 60% in as of this morning. Every day we look at the balance of the health insurance and the checking and then the reserve amount. Kathy and Tony got together today and we moved $200,000 over from the reserve amount to the checking. And we do that on a regular basis as money is needed. But to just let you know the balances after moving that 200,000 in the regular checking for health insurance, $303,218. And in reserve, after moving that, we have $2,931,241. So just shy of $3 million in reserve. So we're in real good shape. We have more than enough in the reserve to pay for all of the prior year. Tax sale is coming up October 31st. We started off with 42 parcels. Back when we started this in July, we're down today to 15 parcels that'll be offered at the tax sale Monday, October 31st at 10 a.m. And then we're also having a certificate sale that day for 2 parcels on Schermeyer Street, and that will be preceding the tax sale. And then same date, Monday, October 31st, that'll be at 9:30. So the whole thing, certificate and tax sale, will take place all that morning. And quick and easy. And it's
That certificate sale, is that anything to do with this properties that the city
yes, that's exactly what it is.
condemned?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're just kind of helping the city out by expediting it rather than waiting till next spring.
Okay.
So get it back on the tax rolls, which is of course what I want to have. Yeah. And you know Joe Edwards, who is the auctioneer, you've all seen him here before. This will be his last auction. He's retiring and he's going to be bringing his replacement with him to just look at everything. But this will be actually his very last one. So we're the last county in the state for that. So, I also was at the AIC conference last week and brought back several different things for different department heads, as I went around all the different vendors. And, there's some stuff for treasurer, but there's a lot of stuff for a lot of different people. And I brought back quite a bit of different literature, and I've passed it around to the different appropriate department heads. So, and they could use it or not use it, but I thought since I was right there, it's a good time to do that. So if you guys get stuff in the mail, don't blame me.
Well, I know there was some good workshops, and so that was,
It was good to see you there.
to sit in on some of the workshops, so, yeah.
And there's some things are changing around a little bit, it's interesting, it's all that stuff too, so.
Yeah.
But, had a good time. My daughter was there for her first one, and so she learned some good stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I thought that last workshop was particularly interesting, talking about the opioid money and the whole issue with that response and hearing from the judge from State Supreme Court. So, yeah,
all right,
very good day.
thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Ed. What do you, what's your report?
Treasurer's report
next week.
that'll be next week.
Okay,
You're looking at last month's.
okay.
And actually, we're going to submit it next week, but if it's all right with you guys, take a good look at it and we'll comment on it the following week, just because next week, we need to get to another meeting. So we want to kind of truncate this one as best we can.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ed. All right, Mark? How big is your stack of paperwork?
All perfect, they're just exactly right, just couldn't sign
Good job.
We would expect no,
well, we have.
so this was already out.
It's pretty simple.
So 957.
This was already taken out, this was bought, put a line across. Woods is 2 lots.
Wow, and that's the reason.
It's not an easement, it's actual lot.
So is this a road or is it?
Nope, the only road connection is that right there.
That's it.
That's a long way, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
No, at least we don't have to plow.
Yeah, it's 30 foot wide, I don't know how long it is, one way. What was that at? 950 and 116.
That's it, Bob.
It's the road that's the
That's
desert.
rich, especially. Trying to think which farmer it is. There's that. Okay, see down there. Yes. 150 and 116.
Somebody wants a woods back there.
Yep. Yeah, and they just want the farmland, so.
Yeah. Well, that's nice, 21 acre woods. That'd be
Okay, I know
nice.
where it works out.
Right in the middle of the section.
Okay.
I make a motion to go ahead and accept.
Fair, motion carries.
I'm just trying to figure out where it was at.
Yeah, it'd be a nice little land, right? 20 acre woods.
So this square right here was 1, and they turned it into 2. And it's on the corner, so it's at the road frontage.
Hurry.
On the corner, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Must be where the farm youth is.
You know, that's pretty good. I don't wanna stick around long enough to. We remember that last year, that's what it was, it was crazy out there, didn't it? So, there's some crazy shit going on. What's going on there? No clue. And we were so weak, they're just, oh.
Yeah.
So, 3 months. That was one started, so one did the minor, which on Max Street. That's how they did it. Whoa. And those are obviously on the 107 and 207. Oh, that's what that. What's that? Yeah. Taking that strip out. Yeah. Make motion. Say it. Okay, motion carries. One more. Sorry about that. Sure, that's pretty simple, do it. All you do is 1 team and 25. This day. Yeah. I need to make a motion. Second. Carry. So last month I was a little short on building permits from the year before. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the case. We're having them out like wildfire. It's been crazy this month. Is it there's quite a few houses going up. What is killing geese, so it's like, that kind of thing. But that's. Really, my country office, it's better be, people are be shocked, I'll tell you. It's not up yet. Really, over 6% on 30 year. I was saying 6. Most of the way I got time to my granddaughter's husband, which was bad, it was just snow you there. Influence dropped off. So they recommended that we got 10-year-old. So that's right. It's still the arms ranking. You got things like that. Yeah. Stop it. Okay, very good, guys. Showing that much. Sharon, did you have anything for us?
Yes. Give me kind of 1 second.
1001.
The 2 people.
With this email real quick. That's from this. I talked to Julie Marie. You don't get a shot. This here, Mark. So, I think because we need to discuss it. But I said, yeah. Did you see that? Yeah, I don't agree with that, but I think we need to get on the agenda for next council meeting for this also. Yeah, I think we should. They got to.
I just said, oh, we're gonna do that. This is how I was losing. That's what the amendment can pass. Okay, that would be great. This is how we're waiting on the change.
Hey, Bruce.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the next day.
211.
We're gonna get on the agenda for. So that's what Jim is. So I see.
For council, so you need on for an additional for the elevator and for this.
Two different things.
Do you need any paperwork done for it, or you just need to go talk to them? You're just asking.
The only paperwork we would need, it sounds like she just wants some basic information as far as.
Where they want to put
She
the,
wants some legal description too.
Yes.
and where to put the money. I think, I
We,
don't think you get a choice. I think it's gotta go to general.
Well, it will, but then what we would do is ask for a special appropriation to appropriate it in that fund. So,
I think it's just gotta go to general.
yeah,
It just goes to money.
it does, it has to be.
Okay, so for,
Yeah. Joe.
So I sent you guys two policies, last week. One of them is for the payment of overtime effective December 10th, 2022. This is the policy that we talked about, eliminating comp time for all employees with the exception of exempt employees next year. And this is also the one where we will pay out comp time balances in the end of this year with the pay date of December 22nd, 2022. And Bree and I will handle all of that. We're not going to make the department heads go through any of that. So if you guys are ready, I have this ready for you to sign.
I've read through that, it almost sounds like we're still offering comp.
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
It sounds to me like we're still going to be offering, it says, obligations for the payment of overtime and or compensatory time.
Department heads are required to minimize incurring obligations for the payment of overtime period.
And even in section 5, the second paragraph, in the event that a non-exempt employee is awarded an exempt position.
We're looking at, so this one is overtime payments. This is the first one that we're talking about. This is another one. We're looking at two.
Because I'm looking at amendments to the Adams County Personnel Policies and Procedures.
Yeah, so I did the overtime one as a standalone policy for the time being, just so it's clear as day that we're eliminating comp time altogether.
So hang on a minute. Am I not to be looking at this one?
Yes, you are, but what I didn't do is I didn't update this one with this
Which one are we talking about right
overtime payments.
now? Okay, let's
Sorry.
switch.
So
Didn't
we're
think
not
about that.
Okay, we're looking at overtime.
overtime payment, okay.
Okay, so this will replace the other one that you sent us that,
Yeah, so I'm gonna copy and paste this language in here really quick. Sorry, I didn't think about that.
That's what we agreed upon, wasn't it? Well.
I thought we were gonna make them, no matter what. Well, yeah, the council has to make sure that they got paid. Hours of work week.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah,
Got
it
it.
just has to be paid.
So this policy is going to be effective December 10th,
If they have to do anything.
2022.
Yeah, that's just.
Yes. This one is going to be effective October 1st of 2022. So they are correct as is. Because I can't change the language of comp time in the amendments, but this one is going to change it effective December 10th.
Okay, so this one here, even though there's comp time, it's still there until December 10th.
Correct.
okay, that's, now
Yeah,
that makes
okay.
sense.
Did you look at the, okay, Mark, with it?
Yeah, because you've got comp time on the books, so you can't.
So, yeah, okay, that's what I couldn't figure out how they
Sorry.
could book comp time, and
That makes sense.
Okay, so this one is for overtime payments.
Okay.
So you stand, you're on the front, and Rex and Steve, you're on the back.
As we're discussing this, Ian had a comment.
Well, I need to talk about comp time, so whenever that's the right time, I wanted to address my agency and our comp time with you. So whether that's right now, or she moves on to the next policy, I'm kind of blindsiding Shannon, and it came to mind this weekend. So I just want to talk about how our agency is pretty unique, and I'm concerned about eliminating comp time. So
Now's the time.
okay, so.
Okay.
As you know, community corrections is an 8-hour-a-day operation that supervises people 24 hours a day. I don't have staff working after hours. However, I do have staff working after hours because we're on call and we take turns. And I think we average on-call time, I would say between 1 and 2 hours a week. So that's time when I'm at home on a Friday night or Saturday or Wednesday, whatever, off the clock. But an offender calls us because there's an emergency, or they got called into work early, or they had to work late. And we keep track of that time. From a budget standpoint, we're not funded through county general, and I'm afraid, especially now with our accounts dwindling, that by paying overtime, it's going to be hard on us. So I would request, and I don't know if this is possible, that you consider amending this policy or adding something in this policy that would allow community corrections to earn comp time. I do a very good job of managing that. I don't think there's anyone in my agency right now that's got even 40 hours of comp time. And with the policy that you put in place previously that requires us to use comp before we're using any PTO. So if I have a vacation day scheduled for this week and I end up getting 2 hours of comp time because, and it wouldn't be me because I'm exempt, so use someone else as an example, I'm going to use that comp before, so my 8 hours of PTO becomes 6. So it really what happens is we're not earning very much comp time as an agency anymore. But what I can't control is Friday at the end of the week when I've sent an employee home with 40 hours and at 4:35 their phone rings, or the on-call phone rings, and they've got to work for the next 2 hours. There could be times when comp does get accumulated, but for the most part, I think it's a minimal. But I'm fearful from a budget standpoint, unless the county wants to pay overtime out to the general fund, then that's a whole different story. But I can't budget for overtime out of my grant, because if I don't use it, I have to send it back. So that'd be a poor choice, I think. And so it's just one of those things where I feel like you should consider.
I don't know if that's on the other one. No.
Allowing community corrections to earn comp and instead of doing it.
I mean,
I'm trying to look at trying to find some of the community corrections. I found Steph on here. Well, this report was an old report as of.
I think Aaron Teaming probably has the most in our department, but he is the person that comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning and changes someone's ankle bracelet whenever the battery stops charging, or for whatever the strap breaks or whatever. So there's unavoidable times.
So as of April, he had 32.87 hours.
As of today, he has almost 34 hours. So collectively, the whole department has about roughly 120 hours total. I mean, Ian really does a great job of managing comp time.
Well, and see, my whole point with eliminating comp time was the only time that was an advantage to the county was when we were in a very, very strict budget year. So with you being in a separate budget to pay employees not out of the county budget, and with you being under different constraints to pay employees, I guess to me that would make sense for you to use comp time as long as you manage it well.
Sure.
So I don't know how that looks as far as this policy to exempt out a department.
I would have to rewrite what you have up there, and then we would have to create a whole separate class for just them in AOD, so they would be in their own pot over here, so they earned comp time while the rest of us.
I'm afraid if we start
doing this, we're opening a big can of worms. We either have comp time or we don't have comp time.
Well,
Nothing wrong, but we're gonna open a can of worms if we do this.
well, the difference is with his salary not coming out of county general and his not being able to budget for overtime, they,
Can the commissioners just pay their overtime? You guys already give them money for, he turns in some invoices that you guys give him money, so could you just pay the overtime? I mean, they don't have, like he said, they don't have that much. Can commissioners, it just come out of the commissioner's budget of overtime?
well, that way we wouldn't have to exempt them out and still have comp time. I mean, we could do it that way. Because like you said, we're operating on a very limited budget. To
Right, I
pay
mean, we know our
salaries.
project income is dwindling
Right.
because of COVID and, I know my employees would love to have extra money in their checks and I understand overtime. I'm just concerned from my side of the project, the budget in the future of, what it could do.
But from our side, it became a management
Absolutely.
issue. And like I said, that was the only advantage I could see of comp time is if you're just under such a strict budget
Right,
that you couldn't afford to pay overtime.
right.
So, and that seems to be the case with your department. So that would be the two ways I could see handling it, either exempt them out, and allow you to use comp time, or commissioners would pay the overtime. So,
And I apologize again, Shannon, for just coming at you guys. I'm just like thinking about this and kind of in a panic, like, oh boy, I don't know that we want to, so.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I agree with Bree. I think the better way, and Steve, I think that the better way to handle it would be for you guys to pay it if you could afford it, instead of exempting them from the policy altogether, because it does open a can of worms. And next thing we know, everybody who has a limited budget or has a grant is gonna be coming in looking for, an exemption for one reason or another.
And we're right back to where we started.
Ian, when you go in for your grants, future grants, can you build that into those future grants?
I would not want to do that, Rex, out of the grant money, because if I say $10,000 is going to be used for overtime and I allocate that on that line item and I don't spend it, then I have to send that back
Right.
to the state. And I don't want to do that where I know in salaries or utilities or things of that sort where I'm going to spend it. So it would have to come out of our project income, our user fees. And, that's one of those things where our numbers are down, project income balance is shrinking, and, difficult decisions may have to happen in the future if that doesn't correct itself. So,
Well, then we don't have a choice if we're gonna do everybody the same equal treatment. We
We'd
gotta
have to
pay general.
Yeah, we'd have to pay it out of general.
now, I will say that I closely watch the timekeeping system, and if I see someone's 15 minutes over for the week on Friday, they get down-staffed. It's just, there are occasions on, especially Fridays, where it may be too late because time ends at 4 o'clock, but at 6 o'clock, somebody might get called in. So I do believe it's minimal, but it's not unavoidable. So that's all. Thank you.
well, I would assume that if we did that, if we paid your overtime, you would still manage that as well as what you've managed.
Absolutely. Except I'm gonna work like 150 hours a week.
That's what
Clock in. So thanks for listening. Like I said, I'm just a concern.
I'm just trying to pull up our budget here and see.
Well, from a management standpoint, it would be better just to treat everybody on the same.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that way we would still use the same policy.
Correct.
So really, what would we have to do to, as far as pulling that out of our budget, would we pull it out of a specific line item? We would probably end up with an additional appropriation.
Yeah, you gotta pay them over. But we would just put 68 as the distribution for community corrections for overtime instead of 1122 or whatever else. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was just looking for that line item.
You don't have it.
You're
I
not
mean, you guys, right, commissioners are the only ones paid out of your budget and you guys don't have overtime. So you don't have, I'm gonna have
It's not gonna be in there.
to add an overtime line to the commissioner's budget.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I agree, if we eliminate comp time, then
It's just,
I can see next week, somebody else will be here next week.
well, and that's the only difference is that, you know, they've got their own budget that doesn't come out of county general, so, okay.
Well, will that mean that the comp time will be 12?
Exactly.
So-
1:45.
So that would be the only comp time allowed with this.
And they're already in their own group.
And do that end up 12 or we brought that up yet?
It's in that policy,
What the building might be?
1-for-1 at 45 hours, no 12.
45, no 12?
Yeah, 45, no 12. At a 1-for-1.
Is it hard to print off another list?
You want it right now?
Okay. All right. So, any other thoughts on this policy? Otherwise, I'll take a
I
motion.
guess what we discussed, so I'll make a motion, go ahead and accept that.
Second.
that's the overtime payments policy. Or I think what we'll do is we'll end up let's put that in the form of a resolution. That way we've got a permanent record of it. And I'll have, they approve the form of it. I'll put it in a resolution and have them adopt that.
You want me to sign this or wait till we get a resolution?
Yeah, no, you can sign it. Yep. Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
But I, in fact, we'll just get a number for it right now, like a resolution. Because that way we can find it in the resolutions.
Are they still working on those resolutions?
What's that, American Legal?
I gotta see what number of the resolution.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
You go, so it gets to it first.
Got a signature stuff.
Do we have to address this, paying this additional money out of, for community corrections, the overtime?
You will have to
We have to make
create
it,
a line item.
19?
Yep.
Woody, do we have to create another line item, or can you just do that as far as for the overtime for community corrections?
Resolution 19.
Or what? Okay.
If I didn't know if we needed to make a line item to make a motion for that,
What's that?
to create a line item for overtime.
Well,
I think they're asking if they need to make a motion to pay community corrections overtime in 2023. Right?
yeah, we don't have a line item at this
Right, I
point.
mean, she creates line items all the
Right.
time, yeah, so she can do it, but I think we need like a motion for them to pay it in 2023. So it's on record? No? Yeah, that's fine.
Just create, yeah, you can create a line item. I mean, you had the discussion, create a line motion to create a line item in the commissioner's budget in order to pay, overtime payments necessary for community corrections. And that way you've got a record of it. Get that
I'll make
paid.
that motion.
okay, motion carries.
Okay.
Want to make sure you got funds. Can you send this to me and can you send me the word version of this? And I'll just put a resolution up here up top and I'll print it right now.
So the other thing that I sent you guys is the document titled Amendments to the Adams County Personnel Policies and Procedures. The intention of this document was for all of my amendments that you guys approved to the manual to be listed one after the other. So the latest one that has not been approved is number 5. It's titled Section 211 Overtime Comp Time. And this would require employees with a comp time balance to use that balance before other benefit leaves until the overtime policy goes into effect on December 10th.
And that's what you put in red here, right?
Yes.
Do you need a motion on that? Yeah. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
And so I sent you the word version of this one too.
Thank you.
So same thing, I've got signature pages here for you.
All right,
That's all I have.
that's it.
Put the date on that one, on too, please.
What time do you assign?
I told her about 11:30. But that's during the office hours.
Oh. Mark, anything?
Nothing new.
Just gotta think of the same. Okay. Any progress on any of our other projects?
Still everything.
We should be getting our payrolls, so I haven't tried to report it, so he's doing it. Just I haven't received it yet, but he's doing it.
Then we got a meeting scheduled for this Friday for the nuisance ordinance.
Yeah, so that's, 1:00.
And then we're able to go to that, or one or both of you. So I don't know if I'm gonna. be
This
able-
Friday?
This Friday at 1:00. Okay.
Whereabouts here?
I think it's virtual. I think it's just virtual.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I sent Steve the invite. I don't know if I sent it to you though. Okay.
Yeah, I think Julie Marie's gonna have it set up. Anybody can come to the office or Zoom, so. I don't know if she's got it set up by Teams, it looks like.
It's this Friday, correct?
Yeah, Friday, 1:00.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You gonna go to Julie Murray's office?
I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Julie Marie's office, 1:00 on Friday.
Is it at her office? Okay.
Isn't that what you said, her office?
Yeah.
On Friday.
Either that or by Teams. I think she's been a Teams link.
Yeah, I know she
I'm
said
not
Teams
sure.
link, and I'm not sure if it just Teams or if it was.
I got, you sent me that link, Stan.
I don't know if it's on my calendar. I don't know who it was sent to.
I'm a couple minutes away, so I'll just come to the office.
Well, if you know what, the way this is hooks up for me, it'd be easier for me to come to the office.
Was that resolution 2017?
When did you send that to me, Stan?
19.
And, I got it and read it.
Is that correct? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Well, we'll have to find out if it's in
I'll
person
let Angie know. So she
and
can.
virtual. So,
Okay.
I'm looking in my emails and it says join on your computer, mobile app, or I don't see anything
Yeah,
as
I don't
far
either.
as another location. So might just be a Teams. Yeah.
Have we got any payments on the animal shelter? No, I don't think, we just gotta invoice them. So I'll send, I can check with Dave Baumgartner and just get them the invoice and have them process it.
Did we ever make it down to the Monroe Council on that?
I am not.
We need to do that, don't we?
Yeah, I should set up an appointment to do that. Yeah. I'm trying to get, some contacts for Country Acres. I don't know if you had any luck with that at all.
Okay.
So far I'm not having much luck.
Well, Scott, Luke was working on some letters, so I've got to talk to Luke. In fact, I got to go back to Luke's. We were gonna send out a notice.
I'm trying to do an end around to find out somebody to talk to, but see how it works. Okay. All right, anything else for Mark or anything else otherwise?
Stan, I have one more thing.
Yeah.
I know you want to get to lunch, but, so
Nope, we got nothing to do right after this.
at the meeting, the last advisory board meeting for community corrections, I just wanted to bring up that the local JRAC committee, which I guess I'm kind of the chair of that committee, has asked that I speak to the commissioners and discuss the opioid settlement money and just basically let you know that the JRAC committee is hoping to work with the commissioners to discuss where that money could be dispersed to. And so I don't know, maybe if a steering committee for the future could be formed, or how you guys want to work through that. But I know we're all just learning about that opioid settlement, but the local JRAC committee said that they would like to be a part of that with the commissioners and support you. So I guess I'm just letting you know, Stan, you already knew, so.
I would love that. I would certainly hope that committee would help as far as, I don't know, if you would put together a smaller committee or use the Community Corrections Board and the JRAC committee as a steering committee, however you saw that.
If I'm not mistaken, ultimately, the commissioners are in control of that money that's coming in. So however you would like to move forward, but I just want to express that the Advisory Board of Community Corrections, which is the JRAC committee, is hoping to be involved in that process. So we can definitely put together suggestions, just however you want to proceed.
Well, one of the things that, and the sheriff was able to meet with Todd Rokita and get some direction that way. And so that's going to help. There is also a meeting specifically to address that October 12th, I think, up in New Haven. So we're going to try and sit in on that. But I think it's, the JRAC and the Community Corrections Board, I think, are probably the most well-positioned to address what's the right thing to do with that money. So I guess I would certainly be in favor of your involvement, or our involvement. Yes, the whole way. So I will let you guys
John, do you want a smaller committee to deal with that, or do you want just the advisory board to be that committee? I mean, all the partners basically that it affects are already there. But that's just where we need guidance from you. Do you want that cut down smaller or leave it as advisory board, JRAC, and then,
Well, that was the thing, as I sat in our last meeting with the board, Community Corrections Board, it's like, it involves you, it involves you, it involves. So,
everybody?
you know,
Yeah, DCS.
so do you think would you be willing to present a smaller committee that would work with us?
Sure.
And, you know, that way we wouldn't have 25 people to try and get together. So,
Shit.
yeah,
Go smaller.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Yes. Is there any timeline that you have heard as to when the money's coming in, when the money has to be spent?
have you heard anything? I mean, this goes back, Mark and I had contact with some other attorneys general's office. I don't know what's that, where we were, opted out, and everybody's opted out, about to win, all this kind of stuff, but it's government, so it's just a slow process. We've received no money yet, and I don't know if they have a timeline for that yet.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Mr. Akita said that all of the counties have now opted in.
Yeah, I believe he said all 19 counties had about that.
That wasn't the case last year, so.
Correct.
Did he have a timeline? I don't know.
He did not, but we didn't ask that one question. We were trying to get more clarification of what was an allowable expense and what wasn't. Because very similar to ARPA, there's some things that were clear cut you can and clear cut you can't, but a whole lot of gray. And I was trying to ask him, well, who makes the determination on the gray? He basically said his office does. So he made it sound like as long as you can justify what you want to do and have a plan for it, you send it down. He said more than likely it's going to be granted. It's just that it has to be geared towards the opioid crisis, mental health, something to that aspect. And if you have a plan for it and the commissioners are good with it, you send it down to them and it's going to be approved or disapproved. But I also knew right now he doesn't have a whole lot of information on it.
I don't think, I mean, other than helping people, I don't think there's any urgency of them saying you have to have it spent by a certain
No,
time.
because this is a 15-year plan. In your first couple of years, it's going to be front loaded. Then after that, like payments, years 5 through 15 are $3,000 payments. I mean, there's not much money later on. You're getting the gist of your money up front. But he did encourage you to where if you have a plan or have a project, use our money, but the state also got matching. So if we receive $750,000 for Adams County, the state of Indiana also received $750,000 that matched. And he said that's what the funds you need to go after is those funds also. The state has 15% unrestricted that they're going to use for whatever they want. The remaining 85% has the same restrictions that we have. So
Well, the state, out of the total settlement, they just pulled half of it right off the top and kept it for themselves.
yeah, that's
They then distributed the other half,
correct.
and so.
So that's what he really liked. He liked your transportation plan. And if there's more funding that needs coming, because that's where you need to go and ask the state for that money. And he believed that was going to be the Indiana drug czar, who's going to be the one controlling that aspect of that money. So we have his name written down from the meeting, but there's a lot of unknowns right now.
But as we sat and talked about it at your meeting, it was like, there's outpatient treatment, there's inpatient treatment, there's transportation, there's so many things, you know, that are options that would fit.
Even Dr. Smith's suggestion of a program for our children. I mean, you know, potentially looking at how can we start making a difference in the next generation is another. I mean, there are a lot of good ideas. Like you said, I think we have a great team. So our next advisory board meeting is in December. Is that too far out to?
And I think that's kind of good because there's that meeting on October 12th, but there's also a state mental health awareness meeting coming up in late October, you know, that some members of the JRAC committee are going down for.
Right.
So that might be some more insight. So, you know, to plan on getting together in December may not be a bad idea. There might be something that comes up at the auditors conference regarding this, if they have more information by then. That's the end of October. Mm-hmm. So we may come back with information from there. Yeah. But yeah, that would probably be a good thing if you could do for us now is just kind of put together a group, smaller group.
Send an email.
That would be more focused, yeah,
Sure.
so. Okay. Well, very good. So however we can be the most effective is what my goal is. So, all right, any thoughts on? Rick? Okay, Rick, did you have something?
Pertaining to that elevator.
He actually dated it for September 27th. So that's 90 days from that. One thing they asked, is there any way that this could get signed today so that they know?
Oh, the extension? Yeah. Signed.
So the date is now changed. 90 days from that date.
I don't think we can sign anything for the month.
That's one thing they asked me.
Yeah.
They also want me to tell you too that 2023, their prices are going up 3%.
Okay.
So everything's the same except for the date.
I mean, we can't sign anything today.
No, subject to appropriation. You know, if somewhere here it said subject to appropriation, it might be okay. I don't know if that's in here.
It's not, it's the same thing, but the date's changed.
We could, under here, you know, if we had a, you know, commissioners could sign it as long as there was a paragraph that says, you know, this agreement is contingent upon appropriation of funds by the Adams County Council. And payment, you know, cannot be made till such funds are appropriate. We could do that. And then maybe you could tell them, hey, if we send me this document in a Word format, I can add some language to it, bring it back next week, and they can probably sign it.
I mean, I don't think it's an issue, but we do have the date changed. So
Yeah, good.
Because July 5th,
would have been October 5th.
October 5th, so if we.
They shoved it out
If we
on,
had this ready to sign,
They do.
with Mark's language next week.
they'd order the stuff.
Right. Well, I don't know if they would or not.
Well, he said they
If
would.
it's contingent.
They can get a signature, they'll order it. They're not worried about the,
And I'm pretty sure one of those funds, you never know.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring you that date change.
I would say it'd be, yeah, let them know that, you know,
I just let them know we're doing everything we can to get the funds appropriated. So once council appropriates funds,
yeah.
On the 11th. Yeah, that's the 11th.
So,
yep. Hey, thanks for doing that, Rick.
Yeah.
all right.
Thanks a lot,
Very good. Okay.
Chelsea, gentlemen, I just want to share some information I just got from Homeland Security. I submitted for a grant for rewiring the EOC and an extension of the school camera system that I have in my dispatch center, so I can get more cameras from the school systems into the dispatch system. And the state just approved us for a grant, our SHSP grant for $84,763.38. So that money is going to be done by the state at no cost to us. And that will get our EO center on a private wireless network off of the county's website and rewiring and moving that cabinet out of that closet into a controlled area. So it's a project I wanted to get done. We applied for the grant. We got the grant. We got to do some fine tuning of reading the fine paperwork. I'll get a free copy of all the grant paperwork and all that. But just want to let you know that it just came out this morning.
That would take care of everything.
I'll take care of everything. Yep. So I just wanted to
And
let you
that's
know.
coordinated with Mike as far as.
Correct. Yep. The company wired and all that stuff. So, yeah, so they'll get that, because I have a class in there right now, a read school. And
they turn on the public Wi-Fi and got a password. Well, here, once this is done, we don't have to worry about that because it's not in our network anymore. It'll be a separate entity network from Wi-Fi that the sheriff's office will be able to turn on and turn off. So, but I just want to share that information. It's just saving us $85,000 basically. So that's all I have.
Very good, very much, man. Okay. All right, anybody else? Sandy?
Just wanted to give you a quick update. Last night, just got back from Lake Erie. Ended up bringing, it was similar to the trip that you went to, that we took a group of, in August, of 18 community leaders and producers from Adams County over to Lake Erie to Stone Lab, which is the oldest freshwater research center there is in the United States, and did an education program on that. Yesterday, we took 23 FFA students from, it represented all 3 schools. It was fantastic. In addition to a lot of the things that we did when you went, Steve, we also studied plankton, and also that island does snake research and amphibian research. We did some of that also. That just went really well. And I appreciate last month, let's see, it was Stan that came to our conservation conversation of community leaders. I think that went really well. A lot of good dialogue, open dialogue with that. And then that evening, we had the field day at the Selkings. We had over 100 people that attended that of local producers. And then last week, we had a produce growers workshop, and we had right at 60 people that came to that, of people from Adams County. We had never done something that was targeted just to our produce growers. We held that out at the auction house, and that went really well. And let's see, we've just distributed over 1,000 education materials to the Amish schools. We're continuing our collaboration with the Geneva Library, and so that just went out. We'll be doing that 2 more times this year, and that went out to over 40 Amish schools. And we're also doing some programs in our local schools too. Just this week, we're going to be doing forestry, and then next week later this, in October, we're going to be doing owl pellets and the journey of a water molecule, which includes the water cycle. I don't know if you saw the world news just, I think it was 2 nights ago, where they talked about water conservation and how important that is. And they had studied 3 different rivers in the world. I know I've seen some different articles here lately that water is the new gold. And yesterday, one of the things I learned too is that there's people that are looking at Lake Erie and some of our other Great Lakes to put in like some kind of pipeline or somehow bottle the water and get that to more of the western part of the United States, which that's a little scary because we already service millions of people from Lake Erie. You know, that's our water supply. And so water conservation is extremely important right now. And I just wanted to bring, I've been sat down with the Director of Engineering from Red Gold to work on Rural 5 permits. This does an erosion control plan, and they're going to be putting in an expansion. That's what their plans. I don't know if Mark Wynn has had a chance to talk to you all about that, but that's coming down the pike. That's one thing that they're doing. And also with the city of Decatur with their roundabout, helping them with the erosion control plans on that also. And Thursday, if the weather holds out, we're hoping to go in and put in more things for that pollinator area, the 3 acres that you have. We're going to put in like 6 raised flower beds and a meadow area that's pollinator perennial plants. We're going to seed that out. And then we're going to do some cover crop plots, which will include like 3 different ryes. We're going to put those side by side so producers can come and learn and see how the different ryes work and what their benefits are, and other cover crops also. And those are some of the things we've been doing last month and this month, and just wanted to bring that to your attention. So thank you for your support.
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks a lot. Okay. Anything else from general public? Engineers? All right. Anything else from you guys?
Nope. Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All right, meeting adjourned.